You ever notice how some people seem hell-bent on proving a point, even if it means running headfirst into a brick wall? Yeah, if you've never seen it up close, pull up a chair. I'll tell you about the year my wife and I bought a patch of Colorado. Heaven only to land ourselves smack in the crosshairs of the most rabid HOA president you could ever imagine. I mean, if karma ever wore running shoes, it'd look a lot like what happened next. See, I'm not a guy who goes looking for drama. After 20 years as a U.S. Marshal, I'd had my fill of tough talk and even tougher situations. All I wanted was to finally settle down, good coffee, a spot of land to call mine, nobody breathing down my neck about mailbox colors or the length of my grass. You know, peace. That's what brought us to the hills outside Pine Creek, Colorado. 5 acres, no HOA, a little gate at the end of the driveway, woods wrapping around like a big old security blanket. Far enough from the neighbors that I could finally hear myself think, heaven, right? Except just over the hill, there's this gated community ridge of Echo Pines, packed with folks who love nothing more than rules and committee meetings. Think flower beds lined up like soldiers and neighbors who wave with military precision. We were the outsiders. That's exactly how I liked it. We moved in on a Monday. By Wednesday, she showed up, Karen Bachman, Queen Bee of the HOA, storming up our private drive like she was running for mayor. I was elbow deep in boxes and security wires, minding my own, when I heard this voice, sharp, insistent, already irritated that nobody jumped at her command. Peeking through the trees, I saw her late 50s, short, kitted out in designer hiking shoes, windbreaker eyes that said, "I run this place." She banged on our gate and announced herself loud enough for the bears to hear. "This is Karen Bachman, president of Ridge of Echo Pines, HOA. We need to speak." I ignored her, didn't feel like welcoming committee small talk. Not that she came for that. My wife Jennifer was inside on a work call. See, Jennifer had just been sworn in as the new county police chief, a fact nobody around there knew yet. She was busy. Karen didn't like that. She got louder, banging harder, demanding verification of ownership, asking questions about this property. Jennifer just replied through the intercom, "This is private property. Please leave immediately." I wish you could have seen Karen's face. She blinked, smiled at the camera like you'd do to a child, and oozed this fake sweet, "That's not how we do things here. This isn't California." My wife didn't answer. Karen eventually stomped off, muttering about attitude. I figured that was the end. Wishful thinking. 6 minutes later, a sheriff's SUV rolls up. 2 deputies hop out, one's checking a notepad, the other scans the place. "Sir, we got a welfare call. Someone here is behaving erratically, possibly dangerous. You could see where this was going." "You mean my wife?" I asked. "They wanted to check on her." She stepped outside, badge on her belt, tablet in hand. "Cool as you please, Jennifer Nash, chief of police." The older deputy's whole posture changed. "Yes, ma'am. Sorry, we didn't realize." She told them to log the call as a false report first and only warning. They left quiet as church mice. That's how I met Karen Bachman. 6 minutes. That's all it took for her to go from friendly greeting to calling the cops on us. It told me everything I needed to know. Karen didn't want neighbors. She wanted subjects. When we didn't play along, she jumped straight to red alert. Not out of any real fear, but because we wouldn't bow to her imaginary throne. After that, I started keeping records. Old habit. Every camera angle, every second of Karen's little performance backed up and time-stamped. Jennifer. She just went back to work. She'll be back, she said at dinner. She was right. Next morning, there's a hand-painted sign at the end of our drive, "Access Restricted Ridge of Echo Pines, Residents Only," with a fake HOA logo, no less. I didn't touch it. Just gathered up paperwork, our deed county maps, the lot plat, and sent copies to the sheriff with a note about continued nuisance activity. Filed a scan in my HOA nonsense folder, which by the end of the week was growing faster than Colorado dandelions. By Friday, Karen went from signs to full-on gossip warfare. A neighbor sent me screenshots from the HOA app. There she was, warning everyone. The couple at the old Whitmore place refused to identify themselves. Erratic behavior, verbal aggression. Jennifer read it and snorted. Verbal aggression, I barely spoke. It was clear Karen was laying the groundwork for more drama. Soon enough, the complaints started. Anonymous tips to the county, one about illegal dumping, another about unapproved driveway changes, a third about us tampering with the water meter. Inspectors showed up embarrassed, left after coffee and a quick look around. It was all nonsense. But that wasn't the point. The point was to waste our time, keep us on edge. Then came the fake 911 calls. Gunshots at our property, we had sound logs proving nothing happened. Loud parties while we slept. Suspicious man with a weapon which turned out to be me carrying groceries. Every time Jennifer met the deputies at the gate, logs in hand. Log every call, attach it to my name, and send it to Internal Affairs, she finally told one officer. They nodded. Karen didn't stop, and didn't. At this point, I started digging. Pulled public court records, started compiling a dossier. Who Karen had targeted, bogus complaints, she'd filed her digital fingerprints all over the place. Not sure what I'd do with it, but I wasn't about to let her turn our home into a battleground unchecked. One day, a guy in a high-vis vest shows up, says he's from the water district, needed to check our backflow. I asked for ID badge, was fake, wrong department. Asked who sent him. Karen Bachman. I told him to walk off the property or he'd be charged with trespass. He left fast. License plate captured just in case. That night, Jennifer got an urgent complaint via the HOA website accusing her of impersonating law enforcement and threatening elders. I traced the submission, came straight from Karen's IP. She didn't even bother masking it. Enough was enough. Jennifer decided to attend the next HOA meeting quietly as a civilian just to observe. I sent her with a dossier, jurisdiction maps, complaint lists. Nothing intimidating, just facts. She promised not to show her badge unless forced. Spoiler, they forced her. Karen tried to motion a vote to retroactively include our property in the HOA. One guy supported her, the rest abstained. She ranted, called me an armed outsider, then tried to railroad a resolution with forged signatures. Half the names were fake or belonged to folks who'd moved out. Now things were getting dangerous. We started finding more signs this time, threatening detention for trespassers. Jennifer documented everything, sent footage and samples to the state attorney's office. That's when the county's Office of Emergency Dispatch connected the dots. 6 separate 911 calls, all traced back to the Ridge HOA clubhouse Wi-Fi. Karen was using HOA resources to wage her little war. Things escalated. Contractors hired by the community showed up at our fence, no ID, no permits, claiming they were there for surveys or road work. Jennifer confronted them, badge and all. They left in a hurry. We filed it all as attempted fraud and impersonation. Then one night our cameras caught Karen herself sneaking through the trees, planting signs at 2 a.m. Gloves head to toe, muttering to herself. It was getting surreal. Time for a real response. Jennifer compiled a 47-page cease and desist packet detailing every instance of trespass, harassment, forged docs, misuse of HOA resources. We delivered it in person right as Karen was snooping in someone's yard. Jennifer handed it to her, calm as ever. This is official. Do not destroy or conceal HOA logs. Digital preservation orders have been submitted. Karen tried to bluster, but Jennifer cut her off. You're standing on my property line. Look down. Granite markers right at her feet. She stepped back, face pale. We recorded it all. A couple days later, the HOA's lawyer sent a denial boilerplate, no mention of evidence. Then a deputy showed up quietly. There's pressure from inside the HOA. They're pushing a narrative that you're creating hostility. Jennifer handed him a USB, every file, video, fake report, server logs. This is above my pay grade, but I'll get it where it needs to go, he promised. Then nothing. No calls, no trespass. Too quiet. Sure enough, the update hit. Karen Bachman placed on temporary leave pending internal review. But before we could breathe, someone tried to break into our shed. Left a typed note. This isn't over. Jennifer just looked at me. Nuclear option time. That Monday, Jennifer drove north to the Attorney General's office with our whole case on a flash drive. I prepped the house, reinforced cameras, backup power motion lights. We weren't waiting for the next move. Jennifer got back, quiet, fire in her eyes. They've opened a formal investigation, fraud, misuse of authority, illegal surveillance. And just like that, the dominoes started to fall. A former board member came forward, confirmed the worst. Karen had been reimbursing herself for security patrols, faking property line changes, even prepping paperwork to absorb our land. Pure land theft. Felony. The HOA staged a pathetic community patrol at our gate, clipboard, vests, the works. The moment we launched the drone, they scattered, dropping a folder listing our hazards, including, get this, excessive gate beep. But the real bombshell was a letter they planned to escalate recovery efforts and initiate legal occupancy review of our land. Code for try to take it. We filed for a restraining order granted by noon. The deputy taped a copy to the HOA clubhouse. Karen wasn't there, but her car was. Later that night, another anonymous complaint tried to get our guest cabin condemned. Inspectors showed up, apologized for the hassle. Weaponized bureaucracy, one muttered. We handed them the restraining order for good measure. Then almost midnight, there's a knock at the door. Not frantic, just a knock. I opened up, rifle in hand. Karen stood there, hair wild, voice shaking. You've ruined everything. You don't belong here. She tried to hand over some kind of emergency claim for our land. Jennifer was right behind me, recording. You're violating a restraining order. Step off the porch. Karen sank to her knees. Deputies cuffed her 7 minutes later. Her mugshot was circulating by sunrise. Headline: HOA president arrested for attempted land seizure. Residents started speaking up, stories of fines, bullying, secret meetings. The state raided the HOA office, seized everything. Board members resigned, one disappeared altogether. Karen got charged trespass, fraud, attempted land seizure, harassment, misuse of emergency services, and more. 10 years, no parole for 6, barred from anything to do with housing forever. The HOA imploded. Charter revoked, clubhouse closed, insurance gone. County tore down the gate Karen loved so much. Her house was auctioned off to pay restitution. Jennifer and I, we stayed. We rebuilt. Turned the guest cabin into Jennifer's studio, planted trees where fake signs once stood. Folks stop by to thank us now and then. Proof that bullies can be beaten, they say. One morning there was a rock by our mailbox, white paint, 3 words, stand your ground. Nobody signed it. They didn't have to. So let me ask you, when someone like Karen decides rules matter more than people and power is worth more than peace, what's the right thing to do? Would you fight or would you fold? Drop your story below. I'll read every one. You never know who you'll inspire next.